From the MTech Consulting offices in downtown Midland, it's The Catwalk, presented by Performance Chemical. Embrace the chaos and join us for relatable stories from industry executives, social entrepreneurs, community and nonprofit leaders right here in Midland.
Welcome all you Catwalkers to another day of broadcast excellence. Welcome back. It's been a great week. We are here to edify you in the way that we only can. Chris is sitting across from me. He is producing tonight. We're so grateful for that. I am riding solo. I am your host, Jay Whitlow, and we are locked in, we are loaded, and we are aerodynamic. We have a great guest tonight that we're going to bring in just a minute, but I want to give you a couple of items before we introduce our guest. So we are going to be doing the Catwalk before the C4K, which is a concert for kids, which is sponsored by 311 Ministries. We're going to talk a little bit about that a little bit later in the show, but I wanted to get that on your calendar because that show is going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be at the La Hacienda. The event is at 6:30, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that a little bit later in the show with our special guest. We're also going to be at the Permian Basin International Oil Show on October the 17th, 18th, and 19th. We'll be in booth J53, no relation to me, but it's J53, and we're going to be doing the show there all 3 days. We'll give you more information on that. We'd love to see you stop by our booth, stop by the oil show, say hi to us as we do a remote from the Permian Basin Oil Show. So we're excited about that. Well, enough about that. Let's go straight into welcoming our very special guest. This is my friend. This is Kelsey Gilbert. Kelsey, welcome.
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm excited.
We're so glad that you're here.
I'm excited.
Yeah, tell us a little bit. Our viewers, listeners may not know, we have been friends for a couple of years. We served together with 311, but go ahead and just tell us what we need to know about Kelsey.
Well, I am Jesus' follower. I am a wife to Ryan and mom to Charlotte. So those are my three main hats that I wear most of the time. I am born and raised in Wilmington, North Carolina, so a little ways from Midland.
Yeah.
And I went to school at UNC, so go Tar Heels.
Okay.
And my husband's an Aggie though, so Texas A&M is a Texas school, I guess.
Yeah.
I have a shirt actually that says "I married into this," so people know I don't know all the crazy weird things they do.
Is it like a cult?
It is.
Yeah, it is.
It is. The first time I experienced it, I was very didn't really know what I was getting into, but it is something, that's for sure.
That is true. Yeah.
So, and I guess just a fun fact, I'm the oldest of a lot of siblings, so I've got some brothers and sisters through marriage and adoption, so I'm the oldest of six.
Wow.
Yes.
6?
Yes,
Okay.
6. So it's definitely very lively in our house at all times.
Now, where do the other 5 live?
So I have a brother and sister in Virginia with my dad and stepmom.
Okay.
My dad's retired Navy, so he's over there. And then my brother and sister are in Indiana with my mom and stepdad. And then my other sister is in Austin, actually, and my last sister is still in Wilmington, North Carolina.
Okay.
So we're a little all over the place.
You're everywhere. That's
Yes.
awesome. Well, we'd love to hear the story. Adoption's big for me. My oldest is adopted, so at some point, maybe in the future, we can have you back.
Yeah,
and
for
we
sure.
talk specifically about that. Now, you are working at ConocoPhillips, is that correct?
I am, yes.
Yeah, what do you do for them?
So I'm a land negotiator for them, or landman, so I was originally with Concho, and then 2021, that would have been January 2021, we were officially bought by ConocoPhillips, so I've been with them ever since.
Awesome. Well, I know we can talk a little bit more about that later, but, driving in, it's a little cooler outside. I'm kind of loving it. Was it raining when you drove in?
It wasn't raining, but I am thoroughly excited. It's under 100 degrees.
Yeah. Are you full fall right now?
Oh, yeah. I got the boots on and everything.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I've got the shorts on, but I got a sweatshirt kind of thing on. So that makes me think, driving in, I wanted to, and I want to get your take on this. I fought myself wanting to put Christmas music on. that wrong of me?
Well, I definitely am all about Christmas, but can't start Christmas till at least I put my Christmas decorations up the week of Thanksgiving.
Okay.
Only because we go out of town for Thanksgiving. So when I come back home, I want my house to immediately be Christmas and not have to do all the work.
Yeah.
So I do it beforehand, but I think Thanksgiving deserves a little bit of love before we jump straight into Christmas.
That's true. Now, there's some people that would argue with you.
Oh,
on that.
yes, for sure.
And I bet we get some comments because there's some that are like, no, as soon as it's Halloween,
Yes.
it's full Christmas.
My sister-in-law would be one of those people.
Really?
Yes, she would want Christmas year-round.
Well, I would want fall year-round.
Yes.
I love fall. But, okay, so in the Gilbert house, it is Christmas. The week of Thanksgiving is when you do Christmas decoration. And what about Christmas music?
Christmas music not till so my in-laws are really big Black Friday shoppers, so I'm married into that. And so when we go Black Friday shopping, we've got our Christmas shirts on. It's Christmas music time.
Are you?
Yes.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yes.
Okay. So you're full-blown into the Black Friday shopping.
Yes.
Wearing
all-nighters,
the Christmas.
when they were doing the all-nighters.
I used to do
Businesses
those.
have
Yes.
moved away from that, but we were the all-nighter people.
Because you can do online shopping now.
Yes.
So do you still put the Christmas shirts on if you do online shopping?
No, we definitely still go to the physical stores, and then anything that's left over, I definitely will try to do all the online shopping, and then Cyber Monday, of course, try to get everything done.
Okay, so we're the same way. The week of Thanksgiving, we want to celebrate Thanksgiving, obviously, and I love the season of fall. And we'll talk about some places that you've traveled, and maybe there's been some really pretty fall places there. But I wish I could be in Christmas all year long as far as the spirit of it, maybe not the decorations of it, but when do you tear everything down?
Oh, okay. So
This is a hot topic at my
tearing
house.
everything down has to be done before January 1st.
Really? Okay,
Yes.
so you wouldn't last long in my house.
I normally in, like December 31st, because we're off from work, and so that's when I have the time to do it. But I definitely try to get it done before January 2nd.
Okay, so we spend Christmas at home usually, or we'll travel somewhere. But then over New Year's, we go with our family, and it's usually at a ranch or at our family ranch. So we don't want to take everything down prior to that, because when the kids were little, they were like, no, it's still Christmas, because we're doing Christmas with grandparents. So we come back, and then that's when we tear everything down. It's like the second or third. But if I had my way, I would keep it up till the end of January.
I know some people that do that. You put all this effort in for it only to be up for like 3 weeks. So
do you put lights on the roof and stuff? I mean, do you really go all out?
No, we don't. My husband he won't get on board with the lights on the house.
Because he has to do it?
Either. Paying somebody, he said, I don't want to pay anybody, nor do I want to do it, so there's no lights on the house. But I'm hoping that when Charlotte's a couple years older, we can get Charlotte to say, Daddy,
how old is she?
Can we please? She's a year and a half right now. So give it a couple years, and we'll be able to ask Dad. She'll be able to ask Dad to get the lights on the house.
All she's got to do is just twinkle those eyes and kind of pull on Daddy. Yeah, that's what happened to me.
Exactly.
And the two girls, and then the son was in the middle, and he was like, I don't care if the lights are on. But the girls were like, we got to have lights on the house. I'm like, I have to take out a second loan to have some of those lights put out, So, okay, so do you have a favorite Christmas carol, Christmas song?
Probably Mary Did You Know.
That's a great song.
That's a great one, as far as... and then I definitely love, so my favorite Christmas CD, I should say, because my mom had the CDs growing up, is Motown Christmas. It is the Temptations, Jackson 5, and it is the best Christmas album. It's my favorite. You never probably would have guessed it, but I love Motown Christmas.
Motown Christmas. Well, man, I wish I'd have known that. We could be playing some Motown right now, but okay.
I do love regular Motown too.
Yeah. So this weather just really excites me, because I'm ready to get into it. I'm ready to get into the fall clothes, football season. Now, you said that you're married into the Aggie Coltville,
Yes.
but you went to UNC. Were you involved in some activities at college? Did you play
Yes.
sports? What did you do at UNC?
So I spent most of my time on club cheer. So
Okay.
very similar to competitive cheer, all-star cheer for anyone who's in the cheer world. It's very similar to that, just the collegiate level. So we competed in Atlanta and Daytona Beach every year. Daytona Beach is the National Cheer Association college nationals, so we competed there every year, and then Atlanta is one of the largest competitions in the country as well. So it was a blast. I was a competitive dancer and then moved into competitive cheer in junior high and high school, so I just loved it and kept it up through college, and it was a blast. It was an honor to represent UNC and just be able to
That's
do
cool.
something I love.
Did y'all win?
So we won in Atlanta
Okay,
my sophomore year
Okay.
of school, and then we actually got fifth out in Daytona Beach when I was a sophomore as well. That year we won in Atlanta, and then we also got fifth in Daytona, which was a really big deal because I believe there was like 15 to 20 teams in
Right.
our division. So
Okay. Okay.
yeah.
Now, A&M does not have
no.
cheerleaders
No, they have yell leaders.
per se, right?
So they actually have
So
a
tell-
club team that's the same as what I
They
did.
do.
They have a club team, but they don't cheer on the sidelines. Club
Okay.
teams don't cheer on the sidelines, so they just compete. It's an all-girl team.
Okay.
And so at A&M, they have their yell leaders that are on the sidelines for games and things like
and
that.
they're guys.
Yes, and they're guys in their
Yeah.
overalls. And then they do. I remember competing against
Yeah.
them for
Really?
their club team. So for people who love cheer, they do get the opportunity to still do
Okay.
it at A&M, just not
Okay.
on the sideline.
Just not on the sideline.
With
Now,
the weird,
was Ryan a cheerleader or a yell leader?
No,
Was he
he
in the
was
Corps?
not. He was not. He actually played baseball through most of college.
Mm-hmm.
Went to Weatherford, and then
Okay.
Alvin Community College, and
Okay.
then University of Houston at Victoria, playing baseball. Jumped around a little bit, and then he graduated and was like, "Well, I have a degree in psychology. I guess I should go back to school." So he went back
Yeah.
to school for industrial distribution at A&M. So
Okay, wow.
he's kind of has a little bit of everything.
Do you
but-
guys go to A&M games or do you go to UNC games?
So we haven't ever been to a UNC game together, just pretty far to travel
Yeah.
to, but we did in the first few years of our marriage go to a lot of A&M games. I remember the first time he took me to Midnight Yell.
Uh-oh.
He told me nothing. So
It was a surprise.
It was a surprise, that's
Yeah.
for sure. It was something.
Yeah.
It was definitely an experience.
Now, where did y'all meet?
So we actually met here in Midland at Mid-Cities Church. So I worked there at the time when I first moved to Midland, and he was in Bible study there and attending church there. So we met through their young professionals group there.
Awesome. So what
yeah.
brought you to Midland?
So my parents, my mom and stepdad, moved to Midland with my two sisters and brothers. So my stepdad sells modular homes, and so those are the houses that come like half built down the.
Okay, yeah.
When you're driving down the road, there's like half of a house on a truck. That's modular, and
That I get frustrated with because they
yeah.
take up all the road.
Yes.
Yeah, that's that, yeah.
So people need houses quick out here. That's we needed housing quickly, and so modular is a great way to go. So there was a market here. So he moved here for his job. My family followed along, and when I graduated from UNC, I was just like, well, I don't know what I want to do.
Going to Midland.
So I guess I'll move to Midland, and I'm so glad I did. It's the best decision I ever made.
Okay. Now, how did you end up at Concho first, right?
Yes.
And then Conoco.
Yes.
Tell me about that journey.
So I actually, so I was at Mid-Cities, and then decided I felt like I needed to branch out into, corporate America. And
Yeah.
so I started working at reception for Concho. So I worked at the front desk and in the mailroom. And then about a year later, there was a job for a land assistant position. So I moved over into there, and then throughout the next 5.5 years now, I've moved up from land assistant to land tech to land coordinator to land man.
To land
I've
man.
just
Wow.
just
What's
worked my
next
way.
after that?
Just a senior land man.
Will you get to that point?
Eventually I hope to get to that point, and then if becoming a supervisor or something like that's in the future, that would be awesome too. So
now, what does Ryan do? Does he work at Conoco as well?
No.
Or?
So Ryan, he sells drill bits. So he works
Okay.
for Reed Hacklog, which is a branch of National Oil of Arco. So, so he's been doing that for the last, it'll be 10 years in January.
Oh, wow.
That he's sold drill bits. So he is currently the sales manager for the Permian for Reed Hacklog.
Okay.
So,
So land man, what do you do? Tell me what that.
Yeah, so a lot of people don't really even
I'm confused.
understand
I'm
what
like,
the
what is a
land
land man?
Yes, so when we're drilling a well, so you have the land on top, which is our surface, and then you have the land all underneath, which is our minerals. So we have specifically surface landmen who deal with the people on top, and then I deal with everyone below. So my job is to, one, make sure that we have the right to be there, that we've gotten a lease and we're approved, and that we're doing everything we're supposed to do under the lease. That's the agreement that we have with the mineral owner to drill and pull, oil and gas out of the ground. And then my other job is making sure that the people who own the minerals under the ground are getting paid appropriately, correctly. That could be one person. It could be thousands of people. It just depends. It's pretty crazy,
Wow.
Way back in the early parts, the state of Texas gave somebody a piece of property, and then as they die or they sell it, it just gets carved up into a million little pieces. And so my job is making sure all of that equals 100%.
Wow.
100% is accounted for.
Do you have to track down people?
Sometimes there's
Is that frustrating?
It can be. There's a lot of times where people don't even realize they own minerals, and you just call them up.
I wouldn't know if I owned any minerals
Yes,
or not. So.
yeah, they have no idea. So you track them down, and they're like, and especially if they don't live in Texas, New Mexico, places where people drilled, they definitely have no idea. They're like, "What are you talking about?" People in New York are definitely unsure. I own what, and so.
Oh, so you find people that
all over.
They don't live in Midland.
Correct.
But they own the land. And
yeah,
so
somehow they've acquired it from their grandpa or something,
Yeah.
or their distant
and they just didn't know.
relative and
Wow.
just didn't know, and they're the last surviving relative. It's pretty crazy how it falls, how it splits out.
So from where you're sitting at ConocoPhillips, and I know there was a merger and purchasing and stuff, from the chair you sit in as landman, what do you see the industry heading toward? Is it positive? Is it negative? Is things are growing, or is it stagnant? What do you see from where you sit?
So, in my opinion, I think that we're in a pretty good place right now. I feel like we've been really steady through these last year or so, that it's been pretty steady. It seems like, the rig count and wells drilled and everything is just planning to stay very steady. Everything that I have seen is that there's no reason to, drop rigs or not drill. And so we're just kind of at that steady place. I mean, obviously bearing a COVID or, something going on in another part of the world, I feel pretty confident that it's just going to be a pretty steady market right now. And I do think that we'll continue to see maybe some more bigger companies coming in with acquisitions and things
That'd be
like
great.
that.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So your journey to Midland came from North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
You met your husband here.
Yes.
Have you traveled anywhere?
Yes.
You said that you didn't go to North Carolina games, but have you traveled much before you got married, or since you've been married? What
Yes.
some of your favorite places that you've been?
So my husband is a very avid Astros fan. I could probably name the lineup.
We are done with this interview.
Oh, no.
We're done. Chris is like, cut it. So
it's one of those things where I I married him, and it is
married into that one too.
Yes,
huh?
it is pretty much a guarantee that we're gonna watch some, if not all, of every single game of the season,
Oh, wow.
if we can. So, like for instance, my daughter Charlotte is a year and a half old, and when she sees a TV, she says baseball and Astros, because that is the only thing that is on TV 99% of the time.
Okay, so that I got to ask this question. What was the first word she spoke?
The first word she spoke was Dada, of course, but out of those two, it was baseball. And then we've slowly...
That's impressive.
Yes, she's got Astros down now. So then now we're going to work on Gig'em and Tar Heels.
Well, she's got to work on strike and you're out and all of those too.
Yes, so Houston Astros make up a huge part of our life. So we actually travel based on Houston Astros schedules.
So if they played in St. Louis, you'd go to a St. Louis game. Wow,
so one of my favorite trips that we've taken.
I did not know this about you. This is awesome.
So one of my favorite trips that we took was in September 2019.
Okay.
So we went to Boston and we saw the Astros play in Fenway, and that's just
love Fenway.
I mean, Boston was just beautiful and just super clean, and just we walked everywhere. It was so nice. It was beautiful out. Fenway was just an experience in itself. And so we went and saw the Astros play in Fenway. They won. It was great. And then we actually drove from Boston to Cooperstown, New York, met up with my sister-in-law and brother-in-law, and went to the Baseball Hall of Fame. Then all of us drove to Niagara Falls, to the Canadian side of Niagara Falls. So we spent a couple days there. Niagara Falls is amazing as well.
I've never been.
Yes, the Canadian side. Definitely go to the Canadian side. It's weird, but an experience. It's beautiful and terrifying all at the same time, because it's just so powerful. And then from Niagara Falls, we drove through Canada to Detroit and saw the Astros play the Tigers. We just went straight across.
Wow.
And that's probably my most fun trip, because we just...
That sounds amazing.
Yeah, we took I think it was 6 days total with travel and everything. We did Fast and Furious, but it was so fun.
Were you a baseball fan prior to meeting him?
I was.
Okay. So he didn't just bring you into this?
No, I liked baseball before, so when I just, assumed being an Astros fan when we got married.
Favorite Astro?
So my favorite Astro currently is probably Kyle Tucker. I think he's just one of those guys that came in a little bit underrated. They brought him up. People
gritty.
didn't think he was going to be great. And I remember being like, no, Kyle Tucker is really good. And then now he's just blowing it out of the park. I feel like I predicted well with that one.
So he's current favorite.
Yes.
Who would be your all-time favorite? Or maybe not even Astro player, but any player.
I'll be honest. I never really paid attention to Major League Baseball until we got married. And we got married in 2016. So I guess if I had to pick a previous one, it would probably be George Springer.
Okay. Wow. Yeah.
So
outfielder.
Yes, outfielder. Springer dingers. They're just.
That's true.
Yeah, they're just fun.
We should have had a baseball trivia.
Yuli Gurriel is a very interesting character.
Yeah.
La Pina. He's got the crazy hair that looks like a pineapple, so they call him La Pina.
That's true. Okay.
But so I probably could name the starting lineup. It's pretty bad.
Have you been to a playoff game or World Series?
Yes, we actually went to the World Series in 2017 or 18?
Now, is that the one that is under question?
I believe so. Yes.
So we will not get into that.
Yes, but it was amazing. We won the game. It was actually our anniversary. So my husband looked at me and was like, "Are you good with doing this for our anniversary?" I'm like, "It sounds great."
Sounds great.
Yes.
Okay. Have you been anywhere outside of the U.S.?
Yes.
It's not baseball related.
Yes, we went to Costa Rica also December 2019, and that was amazing.
Yeah.
We went to Galveston for a couple days for our honeymoon, so Costa Rica was like a delayed honeymoon for us.
That's
so
awesome.
Yeah, it was
I've
great.
never been to Costa Rica, but
I would recommend it to anybody.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
I've been to Europe. Europe's my favorite. England.
I've never been not on that side of the world, so I would love to. But my husband's actually going to South Africa in a couple weeks to go hunting, so
that's awesome.
He'll get to see a different part of the world.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, the weather, we were talking about weather earlier. this makes me think of London.
London weather,
just
yes.
Just the clouds and the mist and rain, and I'm like, I just want to be somewhere where there's a real fall.
Yes.
Right?
I get very jealous of my parents
It's like
in
3
Indiana.
days in the months of fall, autumn here
Yes.
that we get, and I'm like, I want to go somewhere where they really have October.
Yes.
You
My
know?
parents in Indiana, they get like the leaves change and everything.
Yeah.
The whole nine. But they have a pretty brutal winter, so.
So let's talk about Midland. You guys are newly married since 2016, I believe. Okay, you have a new child, Charlotte. How do you feel Midland does for young families? Do you think there's enough in Midland? Could we do more? Is there too much? What do you think?
So we actually love Midland. We love it's just a lot slower. So my husband's from outside the Houston area, and so we just love the fact that it's a lot slower. It's not as crazy as, Fort Worth, Dallas, Houston area, Austin, any of the big cities are going to be, but we still have a lot of people here and a lot to offer. And so the fact that my job and my house are 6 minutes apart, I can go pick up my daughter and be home within less than 15 minutes. And then I get to spend all that time with her versus being in the car for an hour to get home in those bigger cities. So we love that. Midland has done, I was just talking to someone today about, my daughter and I, we go to the Children's Museum. The Museum of the Southwest has a children's museum. It's wonderful. It's free on Sundays, every Sunday. So we go there every Sunday afternoon. The Dennis the Menace Park is amazing. It has basically 5 different playgrounds in one place, and this pirate ship splash pad thing when it's hot. So that's amazing. We've got Centennial Park that puts on they've got the music class, they've got the movies in the park. The splash pad, they've got everything. We do music garden at St. Luke's, so you can do music class with your kids. I feel like Midland has a ton to offer for young kids and just starting a family and everything. We love just the slower pace here and just the community here. We really do love the friends that we have here and the community that we've built here, and just through all of those different avenues, it really is a ton to do.
So you don't feel like you're missing out?
No.
Not being in Houston or Dallas. I hear that some. It's like, oh, there's nothing to do here like there is there. But then I hear you and other young families say there is plenty to do here. So what's the one thing you would say to maybe somebody who's moving in from a Houston, Dallas, getting transferred through oil and gas or whatever, and you would say, what's that one thing you would say to them, the advice about Midland?
So my favorite thing about Midland is that there is not that much to do, so it forces you to be in fellowship with people. Community. You have to build a community, and most of our time is spent hanging out in our backyard, grilling burgers, watching college football, just hanging out. And that's how we've built our friendships. And these friendships, we've watched these people get married. They watched us get married. We've watched them have kids. They've watched us have kids. And we've just built that community. And so for a new family that's moving here, I would just say, be willing to put yourself out there. Go to the Bible study, church, go to the brewery, go to the kids' events, wherever it is that you want to go, you will find someone like-minded with you and be able to build that friendship and that community, but you have to be willing to put yourself out there and put in that effort. We know people who come out here and they just sit at their house. They go home after work every day and they just sit in their house and they don't ever leave, and then they're mad and say it's terrible out here. But so you do have to put in the effort, where I feel like in the bigger cities it maybe just kind of falls in your lap some. But I think if you really put in that effort, it's worth it. It's so worth it. I met my husband here, my maid of honor here. I have just this strong knit community of women and married couples and just friends. the amount of kids that we've all had kids at the same time.
Yeah.
So Charlotte's got built-in friends. So it's just been, I just would encourage any young family just to really make that effort and put the time in to try and meet people.
Yeah.
And just go to any of the events. We've got amazing, there's different Instagram accounts and everything telling
you can
you
follow,
all
yeah,
the
yeah.
events that we've got going on. So there's
Yeah.
plenty to do. And like the beer at Tall City Brewery, 2 Degrees of Separation.
Yeah,
Somebody
yeah.
knows somebody that you know, and so you'll
Absolutely.
just make friends through
Yeah.
that too.
Well, and I appreciate you saying that, because one of the reasons why we started this specific podcast is, and I know there's other ways, like you said, the Instagram accounts, there's other people that are doing podcasts and things to connect people. But one of the reasons why we wanted to, and I appreciate you saying what you did, was because we wanted to connect people. We come out of Performance Chemical in the oil and gas industry as a service provider. I have a background in ministry and doing volunteer work, which we'll talk briefly about in a second. But we wanted to connect because I will run into people, Chris will run into people, you'll run into people that, oh, I didn't know we had that here. I didn't
Yes.
know that restaurant was here. I didn't know that lady did that service, or that man had that business, or whatever. And so the only way you're going to know that is to talk about it. The only way you're going to know about that is to put yourself out there, like you said. So I appreciate you saying that. One of the things that I think you would agree on, because we serve on the board for 311, is Midland is good about having nonprofits that take care of issues and things that happen. I mean, we have ministry for homeless, we have ministry for trafficking, we have ministry for children who don't have school supplies. And so one of the things that I think you would agree with on is to plug yourself into serving
Yes.
and volunteering. Tell me, I know what 311 does.
Mm-hmm.
What do you see from your perspective about 311, and why is it important to volunteer?
Yes. So 311, we have we have 3 main projects that we do throughout the year. And I think what makes us special is that we partner with the counselors at the schools and the child advocates at the schools. And when they see a need, they know that they can come to us and they can get the help that they need. And so we have prom, where we provide dresses, shoes. We all know the prom dresses are crazy expensive.
Yep.
So we're able to provide that. I mean, these are gorgeous dresses, and they come in and they get to try them on and figure out exactly what dress they want to wear. And then we have back to or it's kids in khakis now, and that's a year-round thing. So, a lot of places will do a back-to-school event where kids will get clothes and school supplies and everything, but by winter time, they've grown out of their shoes or clothes, or
Sure.
they got shorts and they need pants now and everything. So we're able to step in and provide that for those students when they get too big for what they got at the beginning of school year.
Right. Yeah.
And then
That's a good point.
our largest project is our Christmas project. We just really feel like, no child should have to not have Christmas. We just talked about
Absolutely.
how special
Yeah.
Christmas is. And so we're able to step in and provide new clothes, jackets, shoes, and then just a couple items from their wish list that they otherwise wouldn't get.
Right.
And so I think a lot of people here in Midland, because we live in the oil and gas industry, they think everybody's got money.
Yeah.
Everybody's doing fine, and there's nobody here that needs help. And that couldn't be further from the
Yeah,
truth.
absolutely.
There are thousands of people that live in Midland that are struggling. I think it's almost 50% of kids in MISD are on some sort of reduced or free lunch.
Yeah,
It's a
I think
very
you're
high
right, yeah.
it's a very high number. I haven't looked at the statistic in a few years, but it used to be very high. And then obviously with COVID and just still, even though that was a few years ago, we're still trying to get back on our feet. And so I just really think just putting the time back into your community. I think one of the frustrating parts about Midland is people treat it like a job site and not their home.
Oh, that's a good
So
point.
they come in and it's just a pit stop along the way. They're coming in and they're leaving, and they don't really take the time to invest in the community. And I wish that people would know it it's if you invested in the community, you would enjoy your time here more.
That's great.
I mean,
great point.
You would just, because when you put in some sweat and you put some equity in, whether it's sweat equity or money equity into something, then you take ownership of it and you have pride in it. And I think if you can find somewhere to serve and volunteer here in Midland, we would love to have you at 311.
Absolutely.
Or any of the multitude of places that we have here. Like, if you can just put in that time and effort or money, then you will reap the benefits of that, because you will just see Midland thrive. And that's what we want.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate your time. Can you stay around another minute?
Yes.
And now MTech Consulting presents Why Today Doesn't Suck.
We want to make sure that everybody is valued and important. And the reason why we do something called Why Today Doesn't Suck is because you're valuable and you're important. And we want people to understand that. In the month of September is Suicide Prevention and Awareness Month. Back on the 10th of September, it was a specific day that was set aside to remember, to promote awareness and help students and adults with suicide prevention. So we have partnered with an organization called To Write Love on Our Arms. I don't know if you've ever heard of them or not. We'll put in the show notes, we'll put a little bit about that organization, but they primarily sell merchandise, t-shirts, accessories, hats, and their proceeds for that go to help students and teenagers and young adults receive counseling. So they maybe they can't pay for counseling, but you can buy a shirt for $20 and that $20 will go to help them. And so they are a great organization. We'll put all that in the show notes, but for $75, you can pay for one student to receive counseling from a certified therapist, and they will connect with people in the cities and schools and get those people connected. So we really want to make sure that everyone that's listening, that's watching, knows how valuable they are, how special it is, that we need you here on earth. This cannot be done if you're not here. That's how valuable you are, and this is a great organization to help with that. Just like 311 has their lane of helping kids who can't afford school supplies or clothes or Christmas gifts, as you spoke about. This organization does a great job for that. It's worldwide, and so we want to make sure that you check in on that. Tell us a little bit about Concert for Kids. That is the 311's event on October the 5th. What can we expect from that night?
So, Concert for Kids is a blast. It is so much fun. We're out at La Hacienda. We've got amazing silent auction items. Mm-hmm. We've got a great live auction as well. There's amazing food. We're going to have steak and chicken. And we are going to have State Line Band that's going to open up. And then we're going to have Treaty Oak Revival, which I am so excited.
Yeah.
They're from Odessa, and so I'm really excited to have them. And they're kind of up and coming in the Texas country world. So they're going to be a blast. I haven't seen them in concert before, so I'm really excited to get to experience it. And then, obviously all of this is to support the kids here in MISD in Midland, Texas, that all of the proceeds are going to help those students. So I'm super excited to do Concert for Kids again.
And your organization, like ConocoPhillips or like Performance Chemical, or maybe individually, you can purchase tables, sponsorship, and there's all kinds of different levels of that. We will put on the show notes the web address where you can go do that. But I think you and I both would echo each other that we want to sell that out.
Yes.
We want to make sure that every table is sold, that every chair is filled, not just for the silent auctions, which is going to be great.
Yes.
And I've seen some of those, and the live auction will be great, but for the band, but just for the opportunity to support our community. And I think that is important. So let's do what we can and support 311 as well as other nonprofits as well. We always answer a few questions, but before we do that, we want to celebrate one national day this week. So today is actually National Chocolate Milkshake Day. Are you a big chocolate milkshake fan?
Yes, I'm not upset about this National Day at all.
Well, we're going to have, from our friends over at Whataburger,
Oh, yes.
we are going to have, I even got Chris a milkshake. He's already been enjoying it over there. Is it good? Yeah, it's good. Yeah, so chocolate milkshake. Let me give you just a little bit history of chocolate milkshake. Did you know? Is it good?
It's perfectly,
Oh,
still
yeah.
can get it out of the straw, but
Oh,
still
yeah.
frozen
yeah.
enough.
Yeah. So the term milkshake first appeared in 1885, referred to an alcoholic beverage.
Oh,
Yes. So this is not.
No.
This one's not. Okay. I just want to make sure everybody knows that.
Whataburger doesn't do that.
Whataburger doesn't do that. But in 1900, they moved from more of the healthy eggnog type drink, is what it was called, to more of a wholesome drink with strawberries and chocolate and vanilla syrup and everything. So while we answer these questions, why don't we just enjoy our chocolate syrup? So grab out of that mug there and ask me a question.
Okay.
Now, these are off the wall, so I can't.
How do you wipe the tears of fish that cry underwater?
How do you wipe the tears of fish that cry underwater? Well, I guess after you catch them, you would then wipe their tears because they're going to be sad that they got caught, right? But they're really not underwater. So I don't do fish cry though?
I'm gonna say no.
And how would you know if they were crying underwater?
I'm gonna say they probably don't cry. I just feel like that seems counterproductive to
I
have
don't
tears
know.
underwater.
But it's a great
Seems
question. This is a
unnecessary.
really good milkshake.
Yes, it is a very good milkshake.
All right, so I'm gonna ask one. I'm just gonna put this right here. So, want to make sure that we get to answer some of those questions. Okay, here's mine. Okay, this ought to be funny. When was the last time you binge ate peanut butter?
Binge ate peanut butter. Okay, this is
Do
actually.
you even like peanut butter? I guess that's the
I
question.
love peanut butter.
Yeah.
And so I don't sit there and eat it, by itself, but I
Right.
definitely will. I'm a big scoop of peanut butter on a banana or apple person, so it's
Oh,
probably been within the
okay.
last, definitely within the last 3 months. I've just taken a big spoon of peanut butter, put it on my apple or banana, and
You got to be healthy with it.
I want
You
more.
can't be healthy.
I want more peanut butter than fruit on
Fruit?
it. Yes,
Yeah,
I
okay.
love peanut butter.
Okay, all right. Ask me one.
Okay.
Do you like the milkshake? It's good.
Oh, it's
Yes.
delicious. In the word scent, which is silent, the S or the C?
In the word scent, so I guess that's like
Like what you smell.
what you smell. Okay, in the word scent, Chris, you may have to help me out on this one. What's S or C? I'm going to say the C is silent because S starts the word, and I would think scent. That's a really good question.
Under that logic, knife.
That's right. Knife would be the same thing. Is it a K or the N? So, right?
Well, what I'm saying is,
Oh, I messed that one up.
under your logic, it would be
Knife. Yeah.
Or it'd be knife.
Mhm.
Okay, so scent. I'm going to say the C is silent in scent. Would that be? Would you agree to that?
I mean, either could be silent because if the S is silent, it's scent as in like a coin, and if the C is silent, it's scent as in you sent something in
I'm
the
saying-
mail.
Right.
So,
But to smell something,
But to smell something, I feel like the C is the silent. Just
I would
'cause
think so,
I
yeah.
feel like your logic
yeah.
is.
Okay.
I mean, it definitely doesn't work for knife, but at least for scent it works.
All right. One more, last one. What? Okay, this is really weird. What is the first thing you do when you wake up on Mars?
Oh my goodness, on Mars. Hope I don't die. I mean,
Exactly.
I know that there's
Yeah.
some. They're trying to experiment about people going to Mars.
Would
and
you go to
everything.
Mars if you had the opportunity?
I think I'd rather just stay on Earth. I know
Yeah,
I know what
yeah.
to
It's a little
expect.
too
and
far.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just going up into space. There's just a lot of
It's not for me.
variables. Yeah, not really for me.
Not for me at all. Okay, so before we end out and celebrate our last National Day, I wanted to ask you one more question. So, who do you listen to? Who do you let? We talked about your family, and you travel and you go to baseball games and stuff, and you've got your family, you've got your friends, but who do you listen to? Who do you allow to pour into you? Maybe from a spiritual standpoint, maybe podcasts, what you read? Who sits at your table?
So, here in Midland, I've got a core group of girls that we started a Bible study 6 years ago, and we met every day, or not every day, every Tuesday at Chick-fil-A.
Great place.
Yes. So those are kind of my core girls that when I know I need some advice or prayer or anything, I'm reaching out to them. The pastor's wife at our church, Common Unity, Dee, she is wonderful to me. She's a mentor to me. So those are really the people that, right here in Midland, Texas, that speak into my life. As far as podcasts concerned, I mostly listen to Allie Beth Stuckey, her Relatable podcast. I listen to a couple Becoming Something and With the Perrys. Those are two spiritual podcasts that I listen to pretty consistently. And then I listen to The Texan a lot. That goes over Texas politics. So
Texas politics.
Yes.
Wow.
I didn't grow up in Texas, so I don't know a lot about how Texas politics works. So that's been super. I love that podcast. And then this year I'm actually trying to read one book a month. So I've kind of done a little bit of everything, some fiction and some like personal development. So I read How to Win Friends and Influence People. I feel like that's a very, everybody should read that book. It was very, very good. And I didn't realize it was from like the 30s or something.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's pretty old.
It's still pretty practical?
Oh, completely practical.
Wow. Okay.
Very, very. I would suggest it to anybody in leadership or really just anybody.
Yeah.
And then I've read M is for Mama and Raising Passionate Jesus Followers. Those are both parenting books.
That's great.
And I'm currently reading Why Do I Do What I Don't Want to Do?
I need that book. Write that down, Chris. I need that book.
Yeah, so I'm working my way through one book a month. And
that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, the milkshake is great. Is this a dessert or a beverage?
I go dessert. It's got the ice cream in it.
We were talking about this earlier. It's like it's really listed as a beverage, but because it has ice cream in it, it goes dessert. But man, I love this. But do you know there's another national day this week, and we're going to end the show with this because you didn't know you were going to come on and get all kinds of fun stuff, right? Well, on Saturday, it is National Guacamole Day, so we're going to get a jump start on it. Are you a Chipotle or Rosa's?
I'd probably go Chipotle.
Chipotle, okay. There's your Chipotle chips, and here is some Chipotle guacamole for you. And I'm going to go Rosa's, and
it's like the perfect green.
I got my. Yes. Oh wow, this looks good. Are you a big guacamole fan?
I am. My husband unfortunately is allergic to avocados, so I don't get guacamole often.
Oh wow, so you got it now. So thank you so much, Kelsey, for being here. We've thoroughly enjoyed the conversation. I've liked everything you said. I just want to reiterate the concert for kids that's coming up October the 5th.
Yes.
And we'll put on the show notes how you can get a hold of that. And so thank you for sharing with us today. And we're just going to sign off now and have a little bit of guacamole and chips together. So as we always say, don't be sad it's over. Just be glad it happened. We will see everybody next week.
Thank you for joining us. To connect with the guys, drop us a line at media@perf-kim.com. Thanks to our title sponsor, Performance Chemical. How you get there matters to us.